premier film entièrement détourné de l'histoire du cinéma. La dialectique peut-elle casser des briques? Un toast aux exploités pour l'extermination des exploiteurs. Une épitaphe pour quelques copains. Un film produit par le ci-dessus qui, naturellement, ignore ce qu'on a fait de son film. Qu'on se le dise, tous les films peuvent être détournés. Tous les navets, les Varda, les Pasolini, les Kayat, les Godard, les Bergman, mais aussi les bons westerns spaghetti et tous les films publicitaires. La dialectique peut-elle casser des briques? Version française de 1973 par l'Association pour le développement des luttes de classe et la propagation du matérialisme dialectique.
Do you think it's wrong to change, to be different, to rebel, sir?
It is your duty to change the world, if you can. Not by violence, peacefully, individually, not as a mob.
We were told the following. If President Kerr actually tried to get something more liberal out of the regents in his telephone conversations, why didn't he make some public statement to that effect? And the answer we received from a well-meaning liberal was the following. He said, would you ever imagine the manager of a firm making a statement publicly in opposition to his board of directors? That's the answer.
Do you think it's wrong to change, to be different, to rebel, sir?
It is your duty to change the world, if you can. Not by violence, peacefully, individually, not as a mob.
I ask you to consider, if this is a firm, and if the Board of Regents are the Board of Directors, and if President Kerr, in fact, is the manager, then I tell you something, the faculty are a bunch of employees, and we're the raw materials. But we're a bunch of raw materials that don't mean to have any process upon us, don't mean to be made into any product, don't mean to end up being bought by some clients of the university, be they the government, be they industry, be they organized labor, be they anyone. We're human beings.
Do you think it's wrong to change, to be different, to rebel, sir?
It is your duty to change the world, if you can. Not by violence, peacefully.
There's a time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart, that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
It is your duty to change the world, if you can. Peacefully, individually, peacefully, individually, peacefully, individually, individually, individually.
And he was saying, now when the cops come at you, you don't want to fight them, you just want to go limp. And as he's saying this, the cops are coming at him. He talked all the way down to the floor. And I know this because I was looking between their legs. It was really an inspiration. And I said to myself, if he can do that, that's what I'm going to try to do. So when they got to me, they said, do you want to walk out like a lady or are you going to get dragged out? And I said, I want to get dragged out like a lady.
Husky dolls, pom-pom girls, you see all the way. Oh, what fun it is to have your mind reduced to clay. Civil rights, politics, just get in the way. Questioning authority when you should obey.
Peacefully, individually, not as a mob, not as a mob. Peacefully, individually.
The police have got Mario away. They have pulled him away from the police have pulled Mario away from the speaker stand. They're pulling back. He tried to exercise free speech. When he stood up there, the police took him away.
Most of us grew up thinking that the United States was a great and humble nation that only involved itself in the affairs of other countries reluctantly and as a last and final resort. But now the war in Vietnam has provided the incredibly sharp razor that has finally separated thousands and thousands of people from their illusions about the morality and integrity of this country's purposes internationally. Never again will the self-righteous, saccharine moralism of promising $1 billion of economic aid while we spend billions and billions of dollars to destroy them, never again will that moralism have the power to persuade people of the essential decency of this country's aims. What kind of a system is it that allows decent men, good men, to make the decisions that have led to the thousands and thousands of deaths that have happened in Vietnam? What kind of a system is it that justifies the United States in seizing the destinies of other people and using them callously for our own ends? We must name that system, and we must change it and control it, else it will destroy us.
Yes, England.
What did you mean the other day about rebellion, sir?
Change. Take your hairstyles. That's a form of rebellion, isn't it? Don't you just do it to be different from adults? Isn't that the reason? Even the way you dress is a form of rebellion now, isn't it? Take the Beatles. The fashions they set in dress and hairstyles are worldwide now. Fashion is a rebellion. Fashion is a rebellion. Fashion is a rebellion.
Go ahead, just react.
Well, what do you want? React to what?
React to the greatness of the march on the day and the victory, or what? You happy with it?
Hari Om Namo Shiva. Hari Om Namo Shiva. Hari Om Namo Shiva. Hari Om Namo Shiva.
Ronald Reagan walked onto the political stage as a candidate for governor in 1966. During his campaign, he found that attacking what he called the mess at Berkeley pleased the crowds.
It began a year ago when the so-called free speech advocates, who in truth have no appreciation for freedom, were allowed to assault and humiliate the symbol of law and order, a policeman on the campus, and that was the moment when the ringleaders should have been taken by the scruff of the neck and thrown out of the university once and for all.
Do you think it's wrong to change, to be different, to rebel, sir?
It is your duty to change the world, if you can. Not by violence, peacefully, individually, not as a mob.
As a matter of fact, I have here a copy of a report of the district attorney of Alameda County. It concerns a dance that was sponsored by the Vietnam Day Committee, sanctioned by the university as a student activity, and that was held in the men's gymnasium at the University of California. The incidents are so bad, so contrary to our standards of human behavior, that I couldn't possibly recite them to you here from this platform in detail. But there is clear evidence that there were things that shouldn't be permitted on a university campus. Let me just read a few excerpts. The total crowd at the dance was in excess of 3,000, including a number of less than college-age juveniles. 3 rock and roll bands were in the center of the gymnasium, playing simultaneously all during the dance. And all during the dance, movies were shown on 2 screens at the opposite ends of the gymnasium. These movies were the only lights in the gym proper. They consisted of color sequences that gave the appearance of different colored liquids spreading across the screen, followed by shots of men and women on occasion. Shots where the men and women's nude torsos on occasion, and persons twisted and gyrated in provocative and sensual fashion.
Women say that.
You've noticed, haven't you?
I don't treat her any differently from the other girl.
Don't make any mistake about Pamela. She's a woman in every sense of the word.
Look at that! old desk. You know, you ought to get a flat nearby. Brentwood's much too far away. Don't worry about your desk, sir. I'll tidy it for you every day. Night, sir.
That you're not blind. It's hard without all the love you've given. And it's getting harder, oh, it's getting harder. It's getting harder all the time. It's getting harder all the time. It's getting harder all the time.
The whole world's waiting for you. You're a smasher.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I come and see you sometimes?